Okay, I'll call the open council meeting back to order. May I have a motion to allow Councillor Hobbs to attend virtually? All those in favor, opposed, carried. Motion on the minutes. Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. Any agenda additions or deletions? Madam Clerk? No, nothing? May I have a motion resolving the committee of the whole to hear delegations on any items on the agenda? Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried. Are there any parties? It sure looks like all staff there. Is there anybody who wishes to delegate on an item on the agenda?
Move Verizon that vote.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, carried. All right. Then we've got the consent agenda. I'll just quickly read out what we've got there, just for anybody watching from the outside. We've got a business regulation bylaw for Hazelbridge Way, Unit 1350, the interim housing needs report for 2024, childcare strategy 2024 to 34, transportation demand management reserve fund establishment, TransLink 2025 cost share funding applications, the award of the contract for the 5 electric ice resurfacers, the Cambie Community Gathering Place Artwork Partial DX Session. May I have a motion to adopt those by general consent? Moved and seconded. Councillor Day.
I had a question regarding item number 7, the interim housing needs report for staff. Yeah. And I think that this is great that we're doing this, but it's somewhat related. I've been hearing loud and clear that the progressive and drop-in center at Turning Point at Brighorse isn't open. It's only open 8 to 4, and so people are being left out in the park. Is there a way we can change that from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. just so that people aren't wandering around the park? And I understand the police, neighbors have told me have had to attend a number of times. Do you know anything about that?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, I may defer that to one of my colleagues.
Okay, I see Ms. Dugan's coming up, so why don't we ask her that question? I was emailing earlier with Ms. Dugan regarding this, and she said that there might be some changes that could be possible. And so I just wanted you to speak to that issue. Yeah, thank you.
Through your worship to Councillor Day, yes, there is a gap between the drop-in center hours and the temporary winter shelter hours. Staff can look into if any adjustments can be made to those hours and provide an update to council.
Okay, is that something that could happen reasonably quickly? Just the other day, as I was driving by, there was police cars with lights flashing, and it seems to be an ongoing issue.
Through your worship to Councillor Day, staff could get back to council by the end of the week.
Okay, perfect. And then you don't need a motion to adjust those hours?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, I don't believe we do need a motion to adjust the hours.
Okay, so we'd be able to be open 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. so that it's seamless.
Through your worship to Councillor Day, that would require a budget increase. We could adjust the we could adjust the times. We don't currently have the capacity to adjust additional hours.
So then it does require a council motion. Is that what you're saying?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, that would be my understanding. The hours are maximized within the current operating budget for those programs.
Okay, because that hour is making a huge difference to the neighbors, both at South Arm and here at Brighouse Park. So my question is, we have an operator. What was the original agreement with the operator? Was it not that it would be seamless from the South Arm shelter to the drop-in center?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, no, the hours were not originally agreed to be seamless. The drop-in center hours are from Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, as they have been since mid-April of last year. And the temporary shelter hours are 7:45 to 7 a.m. With a gap in between for the facility to be cleaned and sanitized and set up to be from overnight support to daytime supports.
Would it then be easier to adjust the hours at the winter shelter instead of the hours at the drop-in center? Like, would that be easier? Just keep them a little longer?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, we can certainly look at that and get back to council.
Time is obviously of the essence, and it's a difficult time of year. But if you could put a priority on that, because once you get past this week, you're really, 2 weeks out from doing anything. So we may have to convene a quick Zoom meeting or something like that if there's some adjustments that require council consent.
Thank you very much, Mayor Brody. That's exactly what I was thinking, the same thing. It's just, I understand that fights have broken out and police have been called, quite regularly. So thank you.
Yeah, we want it to work.
Yeah.
Councilor McNulty.
Yeah, just very quickly, just follow up on that. I do support that. I'd ask staff maybe give us a memo in supporting that in the 4 hours, what the cost would be. I think it's our decision to make. I appreciate you working within the budget. Good work. Okay, you go to Gold Star for that, stay in the budget, but we can also make the adjustment. I appreciate that. I just have one question though, given on that, Your Worship, and you may not be able to answer it, but since it's on the table. How are our strategies, or what strategies can we employ, and when can we get a strategy to get these people into homes and get them out of there? To be quite frank with you, it's great that we're doing something, and no criticism whatsoever, but I really think we've got to start looking to that one step further down the road. And so if we can get a strategy of some sort.
Through your worship to Councillor McNulty, any of the clients that are currently using either the drop-in center services or temporary winter shelter services do have access to housing referrals, other more long-term shelter referrals, as well as other types of service navigation. And many of the clients are accessing those services.
Okay, well, thank you very much for doing that. I have one other thing, if I got this back, not of this group of staff, but on the Canby Gathering Place, if I may, from staff.
Yeah, we can excuse you at least for the
Yeah,
time.
thank you. Okay. Yeah, just a quick, even though it's, we're deaccessioning and we're dealing with the Canby again. And I could ask it, because I think this is a public issue. The Canby Committee Society supported it, et cetera. But what would they want from the decommissioning and the deaccession of it? Did they give you any ideas of what they would like? Because they take great pride in what they have done in the park and what have you, and I didn't see anything there.
Through your worship to Councillor McNulty, staff had not had those conversations, but we can certainly have a conversation with the East Richmond Community Association.
Some more to come.
And explore options.
Okay, it'd be interesting to hear where they're coming, more to come. I support what's here, but I'd like to hear what they would like. Thank you very much.
Councilor Heed.
Yes, for Ms. Duggan or Ms. Somerville, with respect to a question I have, and it relates to whether our unsheltered population, and anecdotally you can give me this, is increasing or is it decreasing? And the unsheltered I'm worried about.
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, from our indications compared to the 2023 point in time count where there were 162 individuals unsheltered in Richmond, our estimate based on our work with community service providers would be that is decreasing.
So when Councillor McNulty brings up the fact that we need to start having that continuum, that progression into some type of stable housing so they become sheltered, would you say anecdotally that this decrease is attributed to that, or the fact that this unsheltered population is leaving Richmond?
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, I believe that we collectively, the community, is being successful at supporting individuals to access longer-term shelter or housing. We also have a number of individuals anecdotally over the past 6 months who've reunified with family and moved back to other communities across the province or across Canada. And so I believe that we are seeing the reduction in relation to people being housed as opposed to people continuing to be unsheltered but in another community.
So where I'm going with this, Mayor, is we know that there's going to be most likely a Metro report coming out talking about the unsheltered population increase. But if we have this type of information available to us on what we're doing here in Richmond and the difference it's making, it would be great. So I don't know if we need to commission a study or at least have that information ready to go, because we put a lot of pressure on you two especially over the last little while, and I think we've got to start to look at and pat ourselves on the back and pat you on the back, because if you're telling me the number is going down, the unsheltered population, that's a very, very good thing for Richmond.
Do we know when to expect the next count?
Through your worship to Councillor, to your worship, I believe that the next count is tentatively scheduled for this spring as a Metro Vancouver count. We haven't had final confirmation of that at this point. We also are currently in the process of finalizing the 2024 update to the homelessness strategy, which will outline the current demographics as we're seeing them in Richmond, and we'll be bringing that forward in Q1 of 2025.
And I just think, Mayor, you having this information, when you go to Metro and you start talking about it, and, you taking the lead, talking about the success we've had, I think that's very critical, so it doesn't get buried in the annual report that you do on the homeless.
Maybe you could, check this out and find out when we can expect another count. What you've told us is pretty anecdotal, just maybe a little more rigorous than that, to give us the answers and, more information. Okay, Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not to belabor this, but in the time between, like, the day program is available and the night program is available, while we don't want people suffering, sometimes a little bit of discomfort makes it a little more easier to make the decision to try out one of these offers that's on the table of looking into some different sheltering options and different things like that. I know for my own children, trying to convince them something, if there's a little bit of discomfort, they're more amenable to try something different than if they're just comfortable sitting on the couch, staying with the status quo. Because I don't think for many of these people, the status quo, it's not a good solution for them. It's not really what we're hoping for them. We want them to get into housing, as Councillor McNulty says. And so is there more encouragement for them to move when there's a period of discomfort, whether it's an hour between one program and the other program or something?
Okay. Do you want to answer that or just leave it open to think about?
Through your worship, to Councillor Liu, we'll outline some information in a memo and get back to you at the end of the week with regards to the two programs that are operating in Breakhouse as well as what is operating at South Farm.
Councillor Galanders.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just one more follow-up on that. Sort of in relation to what Councillor Liu just brought up and back to Councillor Day's original, talking about the gap in the hours, and I understand you're going to present us something at the end of the week. But the big gap being between the 4 p.m. program closing and the 8 p.m. winter shelter opening. So in those 4 hours is when the conflicts are happening in the park that we're hearing about. And I'm wondering if you can consider our city outreach team doing something proactive in the park during those hours to, even what Councillor Liu suggests, what do you can't actually do that here, what do you guys need to get out of this situation, use that opportunity to try to engage to see if they're ready to use some more supports or move on, or just if there's anything the outreach team can do to help reduce conflicts in the park in those 4 hours. Because that's where the biggest gap is.
Okay.
Just under advisement.
Councillor Day.
I think we need to address this discomfort. The people who are discomfortable are the people who live near these parks and go to South Farm Community Center. I don't think it's fair to them that we're trying to teach these homeless people a lesson. Let's deal with this. This is not hard. Let's just change the hours.
I think that is the direction we have given to staff to see what can be done. All right, then on the consent agenda, we will call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Brings us to public announcements. So we've got a number of appointments that are made. Just want to put that into the public. Sister City Advisory Committee, we have Anna Fay, Nina Pagalinian, sorry about that, Danny Chen and William Ying. Richmond Accessibility Advisory Committee. These are all till the end of 2026. Pamela Andrews, Melanie Arness, Shan Lau, Tommy Leung, Rob Sleeth, Sue Jones, Cindy Lardon, Mark Downey, Deborah Ling, Laura Clark, Ian Young, and Ariano Galliano Garcia. Seniors Advisory Committee, Penny Chan, Frank Dale, Nina Graham, Diana Leung, David Richardson, Manjeet Bhutan, Sheila Marcelino, Christopher Mock, and Kamarjit Sandhu. To the Youth Advisory Committee, Ekaterina Govsky, Joe View, Wendy Zhang, Jasmine Baines, Miriam Butt, Owen Chan, Menga Ma, Nayas Majumder, Miranda Say, and Prisha Thacker. And finally, to the Richmond Public Art Advisory Committee, Michelle Lee, Victoria Grigorenko, Jose Lorano, and Jerome Teo. For the more general public announcements, remember that Hanukkah begins on the sundown December 25th, coincidentally coincides with Christmas, ends at sundown on Thursday, January the 2nd. So we have the 8-day Festival of Lights celebrates the ideals of Judaism with the gathering of friends and family, music, and the lighting of candles on each day of the festival. So we wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. We also have the Christmas tree chipping. This is a longstanding tradition for Richmond Fire Rescue, and they are going to hold the event Gary Point Park, Saturday, January 4th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Residents can bring their ornament-free tree, and I stress ornament-free tree, to the park for recycling as mulch for city parks. Details are on the city website. City Hall is going to be closed for the holiday season from the end of the day on Tuesday, December 24th. It will reopen Thursday, January 2nd. Community centers and libraries remain open over the holidays, and a number of city services can still be accessed online via the website or My Richmond app. The next meeting of our council, because this is the last meeting for 2024, the next one is scheduled after the holiday break. It's the General Purposes Committee, which will be held on Tuesday, January 7th at 4 p.m. The next scheduled council meeting is Monday, January 13th at 7 o'clock p.m. unless we have some business in the meantime, and we'll have to do that virtually probably. And so finally, we want to, on behalf of council and the cities, I want to wish everybody best wishes for the holidays, and I hope you have a safe, happy, and healthy holiday season and a joyous and prosperous 2025. Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas. So with that, we'll ask bylaws for adoption. Yeah, there's no recorded opposition. Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried. And development permit panel you have in front of you. Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of that? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. So I'm going to move adjournment. Thank you. We are now adjourned. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah to all.